be home in the morning.
Where are you going?
I'm staying over at Susie's tonight.
What's new? The flyer.
The papers call him the grabber.
I wish you wouldn't call him that.
You don't actually believe that story, do you?
Hello, Scott. My name is Cristina. I'm from SensaCine, Mexico. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
And well, I think that beyond the blood-chilling terror, this is a film about the strength of children and their ability to overcome tragedy. So could you please elaborate on the emotional complexity that children has in this movie?
It's a great opening question. I think that childhood is traumatic for everybody in some ways. But for some kids, you know, they have real trauma, you know, when they're victim of violence and things like that, which Finney and Gwen are. And what I was interested in was trying to portray, you know, my own childhood in a realistic way. You know, I lived in a neighborhood in North Denver in 1978 when I was 12 years old. And it was very much like the movie. It was a working class neighborhood with a lot of bullies. I was the youngest of 13 kids on the block. There was violence in my household. There was a lot of violence in the neighborhood. These were all just simple realities that I dealt with and that most of the kids my age dealt with. And I liked very much the idea that you have a character in Finney and his sister Gwen, you know, who have to deal with this already. And then on top of that, something truly traumatic, something unthinkably traumatic happens, which is his abduction by this monster who's been killing local kids.
Finney Blake was abducted.
What if I could help the police find Finney?
Because of this, I think that more than memorable, your movies are unforgettable. I've seen many horror movies, but it's hard to remember why they were disturbing for me. But for example, with Sinister, I remember every detail that make me feel uncomfortable or afraid, you know? And I think that this is going to happen too with Black Phone. So why do you think this movie will go around in our head for a long time?
I think that there's a couple reasons. I think the first one is that the characters are very real. You know, these kids are amazing performers. Ethan Hawke is brilliant in the movie. And so you've got these performances that are very raw, very emotional. And that really that makes an imprint on you as a film viewer when characters have an emotional impact on you. But I also think there's a lot of unique imagery in this movie. You know, the images of Gwen's dreams. She has these kind of psychic dreams. The images of the basement, and especially the images of Ethan Hawke as the grabber wearing the various versions of the mask. These are all things that kind of can sear your brain a little.
See the wall in front of you? I tore a long cable loose from down there.
There's a combination lock on the inside of the storm door.
What's the combination?
I carved it in the wall.
Great genre film take a genre that you already love and intercept it with another genre, you know? So
Yeah.
Would you say that this is a coming of age movie interrupted by a horror movie?
Yeah, I would say that I would say it's even more complicated than that. I think it's a coming of age movie, you know, that evolves into a serial killer movie and a ghost story. You know, so you've really got all three things going at the same time. I don't even think it's so much being that it's interrupted by. I think the movie is simultaneously all three things. I think it's a coming of age movie from beginning to end, and it's a ghost story from beginning to end, and it's a serial killer movie from beginning to end. And that to me is what's interesting about it. A lot of the work that I've done has been about trying to create interesting movie hybrids.
You're gonna use a weapon. You raise the phone, step back, and swing.
Look what you made me do.
Please hurry!
You remember what I told you?
Someday I have to stand up for myself.
How did you convince Ethan Hawke to be the grabber when he said that we're not interested in horror films again?
Yeah, you know, he's not a real horror film fan, and you know, I had to talk him into doing Sinister, and he really trusted me on that movie, and I think was surprised and pleasantly surprised at what a good experience he had working with me on it. And when I called him about this role and told him I had written the script and I wanted him to play the villain, I said, you may not want to do it because he's a sadistic child killer and he wears a mask the entire time, so we hardly see your face. But he told me, he said, I don't really play villains. And he said, so, he said, it's going to have to be some real Jack Nicholson and The Shining kind of thing for me to do it. And I gave him the script and then went to bed that night. And when I woke up in the morning, there was a voicemail on my phone, and it was Ethan in the voice of the grabber that he uses, saying one of the lines from the script, and that was it. And so that's how that's how he told me he was going to do the movie, was by leaving me this very creepy message on my phone.